Hello and welcome to the Red Leaf Card, your home for Canadian soccer news and views. My name is Jacob and today we're going to be recapping the MLS Cup Finals of Inter Miami versus the Whitecaps and looking at the group stage of the 2026 World Cup, which Canada is in. So, in the 2025 Major League Soccer Cup Finals, in the first half of the 8th minute, Vancouver Whitecaps caused an own goal to give Inter Miami the first goal of the match, and it was from Campo. In the 60th minute, Ahmed scores for Vancouver Whitecaps to tie the match at 1 apiece. In the 71st minute, DePaul scores for Inter Miami to make it 2-1. In the 6th added minute, in the 90th minute, Allende scores to clinch the title for Inter Miami with the final score of 3-1. And the winner of the 2025 MLS Cup goes to Inter Miami. Congrats to Inter Miami in winning their first title. That matchup was, in doubt, a tough match for both sides. And you look at Vancouver Whitecaps, they did have a chance to actually win it. But again, losing the title for the MLS Cup leads that Toronto FC is still the only Canadian team to have ever done it, to win the MLS Cup. And Vancouver Whitecaps still have only won the Canadian Championship this season for the 2025. But again, let's see how 2026 goes for the Whitecaps. And again, 2026 will be a long off-season for all these Canadian teams that are playing in Major League Soccer, and see how all these teams go. Toronto FC, question marks go. Could they come back in shape? They have to do really well in their roster to make it really competitive, even including Club de Foot Montreal. They have to do really well to find a great fit for the roster. But right now, they're really struggling. They can't even win against a Canadian Premier League team in the Canadian Championship. For the Vancouver Whitecaps, they almost lost to a Canadian Premier League team, to a former coach of the Vancouver Whitecaps, Phil Dos Santos, against Valor FC. But again, they defeat Valor FC. And how Vancouver Whitecaps did for the season, they really did really well to come all the way to the finals. But again, seeing how Vancouver Whitecaps went, again, they were the runner-ups in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. They were now the runner-ups for the MLS Cup Finals. It shows that Vancouver Whitecaps, when they're trying their best, all their best, they do have it. We've seen Toronto FC back then in 2018 in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. They almost won their first title of the Champions Cup, but went short in penalties. It was exactly the same thing with Montreal, but matter of fact is they got blown in the finals. But now you look at the Vancouver Whitecaps, wasn't good for them, but they were really well in every round of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. But again, seeing how the Whitecaps went, you see every year they could go all the way and could possibly be the champions maybe next season. So we have it. We have a possible champions for the Whitecaps. Maybe it could be exactly a repeat of the same teams. But can Vancouver Whitecaps avoid of losing in any of the rounds of the playoffs? But all the Canadian fans right now, seeing that now the attention is closing in to 2026, it is the World Cup. And Canada, during the World Cup draw, it's really pleased them who they're going to be versing. So Canada basically gets the draw of what countries they're going to be versing. They got Qatar, they got Switzerland, and they might verse Northern Ireland, Italy, Wales, or Bosnia-Herzegovina of the UEFA World Cup play-in. So a lot of fans are saying that Italy could win that round to make it to the World Cup. So if Italy is that country that will win to make the World Cup, there you have it. So first match for Canada is going to be the winners of the UEFA World Cup play-in, and first match June 12th. And then later, they're in Canada's second match. It's going to be Qatar. It's going to be Switzerland. Those are going to be the matches that are going to be in Vancouver. But again, a lot of people are going to be looking at saying, well, a lot of fans in Toronto are going to be questioning if Canada is going to be playing one match in Toronto, who are the next matches going to be playing in BMO Field? Next match is June 17th is going to be Ghana versus Panama. You have a big one, Germany versus Cote d'Ivoire on June 20th. June 23rd, Panama versus Croatia. On the 26th of June, you get Senegal versus possibly Iraq, Bolivia, or Suriname, who qualify in the World Cup. In July 2nd is the round of 32, is the second place for Group K, and the second place for Group L. So those are the matches for in Toronto. But looking at what I'm really interested, which match in Toronto, Germany versus Cote d'Ivoire could be a good match there. But a lot of people seeing predictions about Canada versus Italy, perhaps, or Northern Ireland, or Wales, or Bosnia-Herzegovina. Canada could win this or draw. Seeing how the roster is for Canada, they have not confirmed which is the roster for the Canadian national team for the World Cup. I do see Canada winning against Qatar in Vancouver. But again, you look at so many of Canadian soccer fans talking that why that so many other Canadian cities have not wanted to be in the World Cup. You look at Edmonton, for example. You look at Montreal, for example. Again, Montreal, they wanted to have it in the Olympic Stadium. Again, a lot of people are saying it's because of the amount of renovation they would have to do, and also how much it would cost to have the World Cup in Montreal. And also looking at Edmonton, a lot of people are always asking about how much matches that we're going to have in Edmonton. They said not that many, and basically they wanted and basically said, nope, we're not going to participate in the World Cup. So a lot of words coming out that, and again, Toronto and Vancouver being the only host for the Canadian side of the 2026 World Cup, I would say Vancouver might enjoy also their side of their matches of who they were going to be versing. We'll see how their matches go for Toronto and Vancouver. Not just those cities, but all the cities that are also hosting the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And that's full time of the Red Leaf Card. You could follow us on X, Spotify, and YouTube. I'm your host, Jacob, subbing out.